July 4th and prompt 4. Describe a settlement that's a major trade hub, and what can you find there? Now, I hope you're ready, because this one I put a bit of work into, like a bit of work. And what we're talking about today is the capital of the Vudra Trade Empire, or Corvicor. That is the city name. Now, this place started simply as just a kind of a lakeside settlement, which grew and grew because of its proximity to the ocean, as well as to some major rivers that led up north, up deeper into the trade empire that is Vudra. However, after the discovery and the invention of the airships, Corvicor became a major shipbuilding location. Mainly because that was where it was invented. That's where the airships were first built, tested on, and built. And it was only natural to take those facilities that were building airships and expand upon them. Make it so that they could mass produce as much as you could such an exotic and expensive technology. However, places to build airships, mainly because you need to either be set into water or have high platforms that kind of have it docked over open air, mainly because my airships, just a quick explanation, let's see here, my airships, you have an airship, but then you have these large spokes that come out, like all around, because there is a magical circle around it that creates propulsion, powered by bound genies and whatnot. But that's a different episode. No, what we're talking about is a large lake where these things were built in the first place, so it was only natural that it became a major hub of trade for the empire that professes itself as the rulers of trade. So, naturally, Corvicor began to expand. But it didn't expand like you'd think it did. You see, in order to make these airships, they had to create these platforms from the side, basically these floating platforms that were attached to the shore via these large piers. And that's kind of where they built the airships. But in expansion, to create more landing zones and in order to keep trade all localized, what they did was, you can picture right here, this is the shoreline, and then they made a central bridge out onto the lake, and kind of expanded these other bridges out to these platforms that are just free floating in the lake. The lake, I named the lake, but I've got so much in my head. What was the lake's name again? Let's look here. It was, holy crud, I do not remember. The lake of, it doesn't really matter, but it is gonna bother me unless I look at Lake Cordla. Lake Cordla is where everything's floating on. Anyway, as I was saying, everything kind of floats now, and they've expanded into the lake rather than into the land. So everything's kind of free-floating and kind of spider-webbed together with the combination of chain, rope, and solid wood bridges. Now, on top of being a place where trade for basically all of the South goes through, this place has a number of different guilds and businesses that are quite strange for this area. For instance, there is a place, or I don't want to get into too deep of the guilds that I talked about, I expanded about in the article, but for instance, this place is so prevalent that the River Trade Union, the RTU, which normally is in the far north and handles trade up there, actually has a base there because it is so essential in order to get things around, much to the chagrin of the trade union. They don't really like the Vudra Trade Empire very much. But yeah, if you want to read more about Corvicor, its defenses of the people that are or other guilds and factions that kind of have been built up here, and a little bit about the history and how the government works, go ahead and go to the description down below, and it'll take you right to the article. And if you like the article, I would really like if you could like it. Only if you like it. Like. But that's it, that's all, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!